Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. I don't talk about it much, but I'm a huge, huge movie fan and good television as well. Like series that I was a kid, I thought Hawaii Five-0 with Jack Lord was awesome. Still do. Jack Lord's the coolest dude around. And there was many other things that I liked a lot. I like Gunsmoke. I liked a lot of good television. That's just something they throw together that costs $1 zillion. Real television. I remember Hill Street Blues. What an amazing show. Amazing show. Still stands the test of time. Series like Band of Brothers, which is almost 20 years old, I think, now. You would never know it to see it. The production value in the storyline is so rich and great. Mad Men. I love Mad Men. I thought it was absolutely awesome. House MD is another one, and there's several others. When George Lucas came out with Star Wars in the 70s, I remember going to see Episode 4. That's the first movie out, for those of you who don't know the sequence. And it was absolutely amazing. A New Hope. How the background story with Luke, and it shows Vader as he's older, and how they end up fighting the Empire. And they blow up the Death Star. And those of you who don't know, the only movie that's worth a damn, and it's actually pretty good, is the movie Rogue One. That's the only one that was made after George Lucas's Episode 1 through 6. And that's how they blew up the Death Star. Now, having said that, the rest of them suck. Episode 7, 8, and 9, also all the spin-off shows, they all suck. And here's another one. Another one, The Acolyte. It cost him $100 million to do 8 episodes. 8. When I was a kid, they used to do 26 episodes, sometimes 22. Now you're lucky to get 12 or 10. Not only is it crappier, but there's not as many. Maybe that's a good thing. George Lucas created Star Wars and the storyline based on a lot of things. His personal vision, he tried to make it look like it was from the old TV series, serials you saw in the theater with Flash Gordon and all that. Come back next week for the exciting conclusion of blah, blah, blah. And then the next week he went to the movies, and that was there along with the regular movie. And everybody wanted to see what was coming next. That was the whole idea. And even in the 1930s, when people were struggling financially during the Great Depression, the movie theaters were packed. Packed. The stories were awesome. So here, I digress a little, but here we have Star Wars. And the series that have come out of that since Episode 9, I mean, I don't even remember most of the names for 7, 8, and 9. It sucked. It sucked. The storyline sucked. I mean, it was horrible. Injections of all kinds of progressive left-wing culture and everything else. A good movie is, obviously, Star Wars is fantasy. But you have to pretend it's real as you're writing the story, producing the movie or show, and the actors have to believe this is what people would act like if this was real life. Not this crap. Not this crap. It's terrible. And Disney continues to lose hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars producing this garbage. George Lucas made Star Wars idiot-proof. And these morons found a way to ruin it. Very much like I'm a big Godfather fan. Parts 1 and 2 are some of the best movies ever made. They're almost perfect movies. Part 3 is a piece of garbage. Garbage. But I digress. They canceled The Acolyte, and rightfully so. And I watched the whole series twice. I tried to give it a chance. When it started out as 2 witches on a planet with a bunch of witches that are women, and one gets pregnant. It's unbelievable with twin girls. No, I don't care that they're not white. I could care less. 2 girls now. Same-sex marriage when one of them is pregnant. How the hell does that work? lesbians adopt a kid. That's basically what they're saying. It's incredibly stupid and asinine. And the storyline drags on with no point, really. So this article here is about, from Outkick, is about the fact that the lead character, the girl that's one of two twins, actually it's her playing two roles, but they're supposed to be twins. And she says why she thinks it got canceled. And of course, it's a answer that everybody knew already. The star of the failed TV show, The Acolyte, wants the world to know how conservatives are to blame. Yep, they're all to blame. Even lefty progressive Democrat Star Wars nerds thought it sucked, because it does. Where's all the talent gone? Look at the movies that are out in the last 10, 15 years. Yeah, there's some standouts to be sure. To be sure. And I can't really recall them all right now, but there's plenty. But it's less than 10%. I mean, I love the movies. It's one of my favorite things. There's an experience with a big giant screen and the surround sound speakers, and it's just awesome experience that the younger people have never had, or most of them haven't. It's incredible. It's like I've seen the Toy Story 5 or 6 times each now online, but I've only seen it once in the movie theater, and it's so much better. There's so much involved. It's amazing stuff, and that's an incredible series as well. Thank God Disney owned the company that made it, but they didn't have any influence on the plot line. Anyway, let's continue on. Because I am so PO'd. I love Star Wars. I always have. I was born in 1956. So I was late teens, early 20s when all this started taking place, and I loved it all. Loved it all. In fact, I met Debbie Reynolds once when I was a little boy here in Binghamton, New York, upstate New York. That's Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia. That's her mother. And it's funny, I walked up to her. She was there for promotion for her husband in some business he had in Family Bargain Centers. I don't know if anybody remembers them or not. And she goes, I have a little girl at home just about your age. And I got older. I remember that. She gave me an autographed picture, you know, the black and white glossies. And I looked it up when I got older. And Carrie Fisher and I are only about 20-odd days apart in age. She's 22 days older than I am. So she met Carrie, and she talked to me a little bit about her daughter, and it was a very cool experience. So when Star Wars came out, I thought to myself, I knew her mother. I didn't know her, but I talked to her as a little boy, and she picked me out, and it was really cool as a kid, because Debbie Reynolds at the time was a huge star. So I digress again. Sorry, but wants to know that conservatives are to blame. How about your talent sucks? How about your writers suck? $100 million for 8 episodes for that garbage? The Star Wars series on Disney Plus was canceled just after one season due to being trashed as absolutely awful TV, and it was. The show holds an 18% rating from viewers on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, not what the critics think of it. It's what the normal everyday people that see the movie think of it that's important on Rotten Tomatoes. 18%. Is it possible that Disney, Elizabeth Hedlund, simply had no idea what they were doing and made a bad product? Of course. Because they're not storytellers like George Lucas is. They're not storytellers. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and we can go on and on and on. George Lucas spent a lot of time, and he said, there's a lot of documentaries on YouTube here that George Lucas tells how he put things together in the storylines. And a lot of this is from biblical teachings. Now, I know they don't like that, but that's too bad. You know, loss, faith, determination, redemption. In fact, you look at the old DVD from Return of the Jedi, the scene where Darth Vader saves Luke, his son, and kills the Emperor is actually called redemption. Remember, he was a horrible character. Remember, as Anakin Skywalker, he took his lightsaber and killed a bunch of kids in the Jedi Temple. I mean, that's about as evil as you can get. And then as the story progressed and the arc got better and better, he redeems himself. Very, very religious story-like lessons. And that's what real stories are. That's why people love them so much. Granted, Star Wars isn't real life, but to be able to take the average person and say, if this was true, and I was there at the time, this is how normal people would react, both good and bad. You don't see that anymore. Very, very, very seldom. I mean, I love, like, sports movies are great. The Natural is absolutely awesome. Awesome. It's amazing to me. An 18% viewer rating on Rotten Tomatoes. After all, getting an 18% rating on Rotten Tomatoes from viewers is borderline impossible. That's true. Of course not. The conservatives are to blame. It's never with crappy storytellers. It's never because of our acting or anything else. It's not our creativity that's to blame. We're on top of the pile for creativity. No, you're not. You suck. Movies aren't about pushing personal and political agendas. They're about entertaining people. That's why in the 30s they did so well, because things were really tough in the U.S. and around the world. And people flocked to movies to get an escape. Not this crap. It's incredible. I was so disappointed and mad at the same time with the first two episodes. In fact, I forget who it is, but the first Jedi that's killed in episode 1 and 2 of The Acolyte is the lady, I forget her name, that played in The Matrix. That was Neo's girlfriend, Trinity. You know, she was all right. Individuals are okay, but the whole storyline sucks. Oh, $100 million for that. The Acolyte star blames conservatives for leading hate campaign. It's not a hate campaign. We think you suck. That doesn't mean we hate you. My favorite movie of all time, and still is, Lincoln is a close second, is The Deer Hunter. I can't stand Robert De Niro. Can't stand him. He's a miserable SOB. But yet I watch it because it's great. It's great storytelling. It's great acting. This is how everyday people, when they're put in extraordinary circumstances, would act. I love Taxi Driver. I think it was incredibly well made. A little dark, but incredibly well made. And that's De Niro, too. I can go on and on and on. So it's not because we're conservative or whatever. It's because those movies and the way they're written in television shows like Mad Men are top-notch television. Top-notch. She said the following in a series of videos posted. I could go on there, but I'm not going to. It's a waste of time. It's not a huge shock for me, of course. I live in the bubble of my own reality. But for those who aren't aware, there has been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced. When it was still just a concept and no one have ever heard of it. That's bullshit. When it started leaking out about the storyline and the plot is then when people started going, oh man, this sounds terrible. This sucks. That's when we started experiencing a rampage of, I would say, hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language towards us. And you know this really affected me when I first got the job, because it's not something, even though I anticipated it happening, it's not something you can fully understand what it feels like until it's happened to you. She makes it sound like she's the victim. Because maybe she's not white, she feels that way. I really don't know, nor do I give a crap. I'm sure having a show canceled isn't fun, but there's nobody to blame other than the people involved. The idea that conservatives had the power to get Disney, a proud left-wing company, to dictate its programming lineup is comical. No, you morons. Movie production companies, forever, since there was movies started with Charlie Chaplin and before, they're not making movies to dictate their left-wing thinking. They make movies to entertain people that people like and will come back and watch more. It's a business. Well, I'm not going to carry, I used to own a convenience store for 22 years. Well, I'm not going to carry this, this, and this because I don't believe in it. No, you carry what your customers buy. You make movies and television shows because your customers buy them. Not to have some kind of forum for your bullshit ideology. How dare they dictate its programming lineup? But of course they do. It's called the consumer. They like what is good, and they simply don't like what is bad. And they get to decide. The show was simply awful. It featured a pronoun scene for an animal character. Someone put the scene in a script and made it all the way to the final cut without noting that the insanity of it. Much like this is a bigger reason why The Acolyte is over than conservatives on Axe. And between $10 and $15 million an episode, you'd think you'd get better. You would think you would get better. Hedlund and Steinberg went mega viral when they embraced the idea it was the gayest Star Wars story ever told. Smart, but there's one thing Star Wars viewers are hoping for is a bunch of woke storylines over epic fight scenes. Now look at this. We are happy to report that The Acolyte is arguably the gayest Star Wars yet. Happy Pride Month. What the hell are you talking about? These people are nuts. I'm so animated about this because I love Star Wars. Always have. Let's listen to these two morons.
I would say.
Now, there's the creator and the showrunner on the right. And on the left is the young lady that plays the twins, the main character in The Acolyte.
Arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
It's pretty gay, let's be honest. Leslie, how do you feel?
Am I gay? Yes.
Well, no, I know you are gay, but I'm asking, are you excited about putting this, this is going to be a talking point?
Is it going to be a talking point?
I'm sure so.
Because
is it going to be a talking point? Doesn't everybody in the entire country and the world think just like me? They're the ones that are out of step. They're the ones that are wrong. They're the ones that aren't creative. They work regular jobs. They're peons. Who cares what they think? Well, hey, moron, it's those peons you look down on that pay your salary and bills. They're the people that watch The Acolyte and streaming services and other places. So you know what? Why don't you call the people that pay for all of this morons? And that's very, very like a progressive Democrat. Unbelievable.
Nerds are gay.
Well, some nerds are very not gay and are very threatened by gay
Well, that's
stuff.
true. But
Yeah.
in my world, nerds are gay.
Okay. Was this the fun element of
no, I don't think so. And yet people have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I'm frankly
You're offended?
into it. No.
They think this is some kind of joke. What about the stockholders in Disney? Why aren't they suing? You know, I forget the probably a legal term for doing everything possible to make sure that your company goes down the toilet and loses billions of dollars, literally. That these stockholders can sue for. Or what a lot of them do is just say to hell that conservative people very much don't protest. Is just sell Disney stock and buy something else. It's incredible to me. The company is in the toilet. In the toilet. Now they're changing the characters in Disney World and Disneyland, like when you come in with Snow White and Tinkerbell and all that. Now different characters, because that's misogynistic and that's this and that's that. Shut the frick up. It's fantasy and entertainment. Do you think a 4-year-old or 5-year-old walking into Disney World or Disneyland gives a good damn about what you think? It's fantasy. They love it. And they destroy everything they touch. To me, years ago, and I said this a lot, because I don't talk about culture much on my channel here, but I said Star Wars is so good that it's idiot-proof. Well, they proved me wrong pretty quick. I was listening to the rest. These guys are idiots.
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen the fits? We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then send each other a reference photo.
And are you telling me, with a straight face, that C-3PO is straight?
They're a couple. That's what I think.
the C-3PO straight. They're robots. They're androids. They don't have a sexual orientation, you frickin' moron. Unbelievable. It's even like in the old days when everybody knew Rock Hudson was gay and he was a huge star. Nobody cared. Nobody gives a damn who you love. Nobody gives a damn who you sleep with. Nobody gives a damn who you make a committed relationship with. Nobody cares. I don't want to hear it. It's your personal business. It's amazing to me how they get to put all their personal business out in public. It's just incredible. And if you don't think like them, you're closed-minded, a bigot, and everything else under the sun. Homophobe, Islamophobe, and phobe. And it's incredible to me. These guys just pissed away $100 million. And if I was a big shot in Disney or the CEO and I saw this, I'd be pissed. Pissed. I understand that the young lady that plays the main character here, the one girl that played in the one movie there started ragging conservative people and white people, and they're really, really pissed because now nobody's going to go see the Disney movies. They alienated the people that pay them. It's incredible to me. They all think it's funny. They live in this little bubble. They have no clue what the real world is like and how the average person thinks.
But this is more outward.
I think it's canon that R2D2 is a lesbian.
Canon!
Yeah.
Ask Filoni. Okay.
Ask
Can you imagine?
Yeah, talk to Filoni.
Canon. That's the old stories and background stories and all that for those who don't know. I'm not big on canon Star Wars. I know a lot. I don't know a lot as much as others do. Isn't it canon that C-3PO is a lesbian? Are you crazy? These people are nuts. What makes it even worse, in a very short time, 70-odd days, these morons might be in the Oval Office, the most powerful elected office in the world, with the biggest military in the world, I should say the strongest, and the largest economy. How is this possible? They effed up Star Wars. That's how dumb they are. Al Kixie and Miller also made a great point following the show being canceled, is that he noted it makes no sense financially. You can't have a show with a budget of around $100 million and no dedicated audience. Yeah. Like I said, I'm older. I remember I was in my late teens, early 20s when Star Wars came out. And since then, has been a whole generation after generation, but especially the generation that watched the first three Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6. We loved it. Wasn't a big, huge fan of the prequels, but there wasn't the end of the world either. George Lucas was kind of mad. I think he made those two. But the storyline was still awesome. Still awesome. Of course, none of that seems to have factored into Steinberg's thinking. Do you think? It's not us. It's those evil conservatives. Those evil church-going conservatives. It's incredible to me. Incredible. There's no lesson to be learned from any of these things. There are deep storylines in Star Wars, as well as many other movies and TV shows, by the way. What do you learn from this? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So anyway, folks, I had to jump in on this. Like I said, I very rarely talk about cultural issues on my channel. Maybe I should start, because I think there's some great television out there. Some, maybe not so much now, but there is some. The last 20, 30 years, there's some standout shows, standout movies. It's just incredible to me. I thought as far as intellectual-wise, I thought Arrival was a great movie. Absolutely great. Makes you really think. That's entertainment. The Madman series is amazingly good, amazingly written. It's incredible. House MD, amazingly written, and there's many that I left out. It's just movies. The movies they suck now. It's like if you had a time capsule, went back to I was born in 56, so we'll say 56, and sat in a diner, and it just had a cup of coffee and a piece of apple pie. The coffee tastes so much better. The apple pie is amazingly good because they just couldn't stop screwing with it. They had the golden ticket when Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas. They had it. And they pissed it away. It's amazing to me. All for an ideology? Not even the most left-wing CEO of Disney ever could be that stupid, because their fiduciary duty is to make quality product that people want so they make more money and they can pay dividends to the stockholders. That's what it's all about. Yes, there's art that sometimes doesn't make a lot of money. I get it. But Star Wars? It was freaking idiot-proof. These guys aren't idiots. They're worse than idiots. Anyway, I could ramble on for an hour, but I'm sure you don't want to hear it. But I jumped in here because the Accolade getting canceled was, and I'm bitching about it because it's all about these evil conservative people. It's the everyday people that we look down on from our tower. The peons that do most of the living and dying in this country and in this world. You don't get what we're trying to do, so you're stupid. You're racist. You're a homophobe. Meanwhile, after I call you all those names, can I please have your money? You idiot. And for your French speakers out there, idiot. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.